Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla stock. Let's go over the market. Let's talk about what is happening to Tesla stock, what we can expect moving forward, and all that good stuff as per usual. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed, please don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice and I am not a financial advisor. And of course, if you do enjoy my technical analysis, thoughts, etc. on the charts, I do share my thoughts every single day. The market is open with my members in the YouTube membership that I have is on YouTube. The link is to that, is down below in the description of the video for just $3 a month. Again, I share all my thoughts mainly on Tesla stock, of course, in the $3 tier. Sometimes other stocks if I see other opportunities, or for $5, you get access to everything I just said, plus my thoughts and updates, etc. as the market is trading on NVIDIA as well for $5 a month. But jumping into it, Tesla unfortunately closing the day down a pretty whopping 6% on the day, closing just shy of $380 per share, and we're down about another 0.5% in post-market. But again, post-market, it's usually more noise than not unless it's something major. Now, what does this mean moving forward? Well, let's get the obvious stuff out of the way. The delivery numbers came in, they were disappointing. They were like, I think it was 496 or 7. I think it was 497 if I'm not mistaken. Expectations were, I think, well around like 507 or something like that. Regardless, Tesla, essentially did not beat expectations. And to make matters arguably worse, this is the first year-over-year decline that Tesla has had in quite some time. Honestly, I'm surprised it's not down more with such a miss, considering Tesla has run up quite a bit. But, maybe that's a good sign. 6% is not too bad. I honestly, with those kind of numbers, I thought it'll be down a little bit more. But with all that being said, look where we are, right? Remember what I said on Friday and even the day before that, I believe I said how I personally, first major level I can see that Tesla will mostly come down to is the 380s. We actually overshot that a bit, right? We actually overshot it just a bit. We've been trading around the 380s the majority of the day, but we slightly overshot it and we actually closed below 380s as well. So, there are some signs here that I'm not a big fan of, but I still stand by my statement where I still believe we're closer to a bottom than a top starting from here. Like I said on Friday, I thought the bottom, and there's still potential for it to be the bottom around the 380s, right? 380s was the level I kept mentioning, the market bias, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Go watch that video if you haven't, right? You'll pretty much hear me say all these things and we're pretty much right here. Unfortunately, a little bit more weakness than I wanted to see though. I will admit, a little bit extra weakness than initially anticipated, which makes things a little bit more complicated, but I do believe that there is still overall level, which I'll obviously talk about very, very soon, that I don't think Tesla will go down below, at least in this iteration of the drop, right? Before, at the very least, some bounce. So let's go over that, right? So Tesla, obviously with the massive fall, right? Obviously, we lost that rising channel. That was, warning sign number one. You can even go back to this video back here on Friday, 27th of December, where I talked about that. Excuse me. The channel was a little wonky, right? It wasn't looking too hot, and it was looking like we were about to fall down. Sorry, I was like trying to burp or something. It was weird. We pretty much lost the channel. It wasn't looking as hot anymore, right? We lost the moving averages up here. That the EMA cloud, if you will, the 9/21 EMA, we lost that as well, which is the first time we've closed below it like this, at least on the previous trading day's candle on Tuesday, and it wasn't looking as hot, right? It just plain and simple, it wasn't looking as good anymore. We're losing key levels, right? That's number one. And we lost 415, right? All those things we've talked about many, many times. You guys are well aware. And we dropped right into the market bias. And, again, the one thing I don't like is the fact that we closed with a little bit extra weakness than I initially was hoping for, I guess, to see, right? I was hoping we'd see a bit more strength in the 380s, and we closed in the mid 380s roughly. It was what I was expecting. We didn't get that. We did not get that, which means that this move down might not be fully done just yet. There could be a little bit more pain ahead. I'll go over where I think it can go next and where I don't think we'll go lower at the very least for the for the next week or so, 1 or 2 weeks. But I don't like the fact that we also closed below this trend line, right? You can see this little bull flag trend line, right? So I can probably remove this for now. I'll keep this bottom one for now. But, we had this little potential bull flag, right? You can make an easy argument. This is a nice little bull flag, right? If I bring out the Fibonacci from here as well, you can also argue the fact that, the next level is going to be to the green Fibonacci levels, right? But if you take it from the recent swing low that we had before we had this parabolic move up, either from here, or you can even argue, I guess it's from here, in which case the move down is complete. Really depends. I'm not really sure which one you would put it on to be completely honest with you. I personally would put it here, but the point I'm trying to make is the fact that I don't like the fact that we're closing the candle not a lot below, but nonetheless still kind of below my kind of bull flag bottom end of the trend line. You can see right here, right? It's pretty obvious. I mean, I'll zoom in just in case, but you can see we're closing below it right now. Again, my trend line isn't drawn to perfection. Maybe my trend line's off. Who knows for sure? We are still technically barely holding on to market bias. So, it's not all bad news, right? But, RSI is oversold, but it's still pointing straight down. MACD is still bearish. Stochastic is bearish, right? Pointing straight down. Remember when we were moving down, and even when we had these days over here, I still remember this actually right here. Remember these days right here when we were moving upwards, and I said, wow, we're moving upwards, guys, which is weird, but the stochastic, it's just pointing straight down, doing almost the exact opposite of what NVIDIA was doing, right? NVIDIA was moving down. Stochastic was pointing straight up. Now NVIDIA is up 3% on the day. Not bad at all. And I think it's only just getting started. Personally, I'll talk more about it in my NVIDIA video, of course. But nonetheless, Tesla was essentially doing the opposite of NVIDIA, right? And look where we are right now. Now, with all that being said and done, right? Those are the bad news. And again, the point I'm trying to make is the fact that based on today's weak closure and a weaker closure than I personally wanted to see, I don't think the move down is done just yet. Because also you have to remember this kind of move right now that we're getting off of delivery numbers, it's an earnings-esque type of move, right? It's earnings-like, if you will, type move, because delivery numbers for Tesla is pretty much a mini earnings, if you will, right? So the fact that we miss is not good. So, we might need to give Tesla, a couple more days to kind of let the dust settle. But let's say we do move down. Let's say we continue this weakness. Let's say we do go even lower, right? Where's my target? Where do I think that Tesla can go? And where do I think it won't go below, at the very least for the next week or two, right? Where I think it'll be pretty shocking to see it go much lower, at least in this straight line down, essentially, right? Well, simply put, the bottom of the Bollinger Bands, right? The Bollinger Bands, I love the Bollinger Bands, right? Slash the, Bands regression, same idea. The Bollinger Bands, I kind of like a little bit more right now, mainly because I like the 2 standard deviations a lot. And I also like the fact that it's a little bit more following the price type action, and it shows contraction, which I like as well. I like contraction and expansion in the bands. But what I'm trying to make here is the fact that, if we do continue to move down, pretty much I would expect Tesla to make its way down pretty much into the 360s to as low as the 350s. And I don't think it's actually going to go lower than 350s. I think if we make our way into 350s, that should be the low that we get. That should be, all that she wrote, at least for now. And we should at the very least get some bounce from there. If not, maybe from even over here where we are right now, still around that 380 mark, right? It's just the point I'm trying to make with my closure below is the fact that it's not a convincing close, and the doors to move lower, again, 360 to potentially even into the 350s, is still open. It's still open, and this closure did not convince me that door is closed. So especially with tomorrow being Friday, I need to see a little bit more price action before I'm convinced of something. So any trade here from me personally will always be just a cash secured put. I think cash secured put is pretty much the only way to go here. I think outright buying shares here, unless you're holding for 10 years, obviously, it's a risk. It's a massive, massive risk because there's still definitely more room to the downside. That is worth mentioning, right? So that's kind of my overall general perspective on Tesla right now. Again, the stochastic is very oversold. And if I see Tesla touch the bottom of the Bollinger Bands, again, pretty much around 360 per share, with the stochastic being oversold, that to me is usually a pretty damn good double sign. The fact that the stock not necessarily has bottomed right here, right now, but it's absolutely closer to a bottom, or at the very least, stopping the bleeding, which is why cash secured puts, in my opinion, are king, because it is a falling knife. Cash secured puts only are good on pretty decent in a falling knife, in my opinion, assuming, obviously, Bollinger Bands indicator plus that RSI being oversold are met, then it's not a bad idea, right? Not financial advice. But, that's kind of the main way I'm looking at it right now. So we'll have to see how tomorrow goes. Tomorrow is a Friday. Fridays are always kind of wild cardy days, right? Never really know how our Friday is going to go. So I definitely want to see more reaction, right? I want to see a bit more price action to get a better read about this right now. But, it is at what could be the bottom, right? This kind of 380-ish area could be the bottom. This can be that area. We could hold the market bias, and we could get back essentially into this descending channel slash bull flag type situation. But until Tesla, at the very least, in my eyes, gets back above about 415 slash breaks out of this bull flag, I'm not fully convinced yet. I'm not fully convinced that the bottom overall is in, it's hard to say where it actually is going to be. And until that actually happens, and until we get that breakout, for all I know, we can get more choppy action slash downward price action, right? Not super convinced about it just yet. However, once we do break out of this, which at some point I think we will, of course, unless we really, things really go bad, then I think we'll make our move back up, right? But other than that, right now, Tesla, it is essentially a falling knife. There's no real bottom signal. It is weak. And there is more potential room to the downside, again, like I said, but I don't think it'll be too much more. I think, in a quote unquote worst case scenario, it's still another 7%. That's actually a decent amount. It's more than I thought. I thought it was like 4%. Still 7% potentially, right? We can have another day like today, right? But I don't think we'll have much more than that, at least for the short term. I think that's where the stock should really start to find its footing. And, we'll kind of go from there, right? So yeah, let's kind of go with it for now. Let the stock do its thing again. Usually when you have these kind of dips on earnings or earnings-like type situations, which again, deliveries for Tesla is pretty much an earnings-like situation, let the dust settle. Let the dust settle. Let the stock find its footing. You don't want to get caught in that whiplash. Trust me. I used to do it all the time. It's not fun. And you begin overthinking every single trade. You begin, buying, selling nonstop, thinking like maybe this is the bottom, then it's not. Then you sell, then it goes up, and you're like, wow, but maybe it is the bottom, so I'll buy back in. And then it goes back. You go in this like really vicious mental loop that I used to do pretty often actually. So I try avoiding these things. Let the dust settle. That's my kind of overall view on the price targets. Now, the 4-hour chart is another chart I really like to look at for Bollinger Bands. We are very, very oversold on the 4-hour chart. The RSI is extremely oversold. We are very, 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 very oversold on the 4-hour chart. Even if I bring up the other bands, I'm sure it's pretty oversold as well. This band actually says that we can go even slightly lower to the 350s, which, coincides with that daily Bollinger Bands as well. So keep that in mind. But, that's kind of my overall perspective, right? It's hard to say where the bottom is going to be right now. But again, 380s has a possibility. I'm not convinced based on the daily closures, and that still opens the door for me for a move down another 5 to 7% or so. Again, 360 to worst case into the 350s. I don't think we'll go much lower than that. I do think Tesla will find some meaningful support there because that was also a meaningful resistance area back here. And I really think this area right here now should be that potential area of a bottom. I don't think it'll go much lower than that, really. I was hoping this would be the bottom area, which is what I talked about on Friday. There is still a chance, but we need to see better reaction around this price, to get a better kind of confidence inspiring type close. But I don't think we're there just yet. Stochastic is still pointing straight down. This thing has been calling it. I'm telling you, man, this thing was calling it. Back when we were having these rises up here, the price was moving to the upside. Stochastic was just pointing straight down. It was not buying any of it. And look what it is now. And look what happened moving forward, right? Pretty powerful stuff. And I expect the opposite to happen to NVIDIA within the next week or so. Same thing, right? Remember, as NVIDIA was moving its way down, Stochastic just kept going up. Pretty much the exact opposite of Tesla. So if this is what happened with Tesla, what do you think is going to happen to NVIDIA, right? I'll let you decide that one. But all that being said, that's pretty much what I got for you. Taking a quick look at options flow. Now, this is why I don't like options flow too much. I don't personally use it too much. I still like to look at it here and there, kind of for fun. But, you see these million calls come in for Tesla right here. You can see just before the market closed, etc. But don't forget, on Friday. Oh, sorry, not Friday. Why do we keep saying Friday? I keep thinking today's Monday. I don't know why. It's just because I think yesterday was a day off. So my mind's like, anyway. On Tuesday, I believe it was, when we saw those calls come in on Tesla. Remember, I shared them. You can go back to the video on Tuesday and check. There's a lot of calls coming in, right? A lot of calls coming in suggesting that people expected the delivery numbers to beat. Well, it didn't beat, and took a massive 6% haircut instead. This is why I don't fully just blindly follow options flow. I don't really care for it. The chart usually tells the story. Options flow is usually just a supplement to the chart, in my opinion. That's the way I like it. But nonetheless, pretty mixed flow today for the most part. Bulls and bears all over the place. Not really one convincing side or the other. So hard to say for sure. But taking a look at the confirmed options flow, Tesla surprisingly not even in the most confirmed bearish flow over here. So that's arguably a nice sight to see. Maybe it's over here somewhere in the bullish side. Let's take a quick peek over here. Do not see anything about that here whatsoever. So yeah, let's see how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. Hard to say. Bit of a tough read here, but it's not a convincing close for bulls or the bears, really. It's a little bit kind of mixed because we are at a major support where the market buys, but it's not also a convincing close to, where the bulls can say the bottom is in. Definitely opens up room to the downside, but I don't think we'll go much lower than 360/350s. I really would be shocked if we go much lower than that, at least in this instance of dropping, before a move back up, at the very least a dead cat. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.